Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chats Con Sabor. I am Yvette, one of your hosts. I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Joanna. Hello.
So excited about this episode.
We have been waiting, dying to do this
Crying.
episode because book club!
Oh,
Yay!
wish I had a drum roll. Hold on. That will do.
Not necessarily a drum roll, but yeah, you're right. It'll do. We're so excited to bring you guys. This is book club part 3, is what we're calling it. It's Caught Up by Navessa Allen because parts 1 and 2 of our book club were Lights Out by Navessa Allen, right? So 3 and 4 is another book by her that was, I will say, a lot spicier. It definitely brought me what I was wanting out of Lights Out. So good job, Navessa.
Hold on. For Navessa.
Yeah. So, Miss Joanna is going to give us a little summary about this book. Just short and sweet. Just tell us about up to the first 16 chapters. Yeah, the first half of the book. So, the first 16, 17 chapters. And then on the next week's episode, we'll go ahead and talk about the rest of the book because, damn, it got even more spicy. So, tell us.
Oh, God. So, just a quick summary, a little background too on the two characters, which is Nico, also known as Junior, and Lauren. And which was interesting was the selection that Navessa made in their professions. Obviously, Junior, which is Nico, is part of the mafia. And Lauren is a cam girl or sex worker. And I giggle because like she truly took it to like the next level. What Lauren does, she's pretty much a cam girl, and that's how she makes her money. And what's interesting is that without her knowing, Nico has been
Like
kind
her number
of,
one fan.
yeah, he's been funding her, taking care of her. But it's interesting to watch how everything unfolds. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes too because I made
It's
some notes
okay.
here. And just the whole setup where Lauren lives with her roommates, and she has this I'm trying to it's not an OnlyFans, it's called Me For You.
But something similar to like an OnlyFans,
An
right?
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I don't know if she just couldn't use like the OnlyFans thing. She had to create something similar.
Right.
But
And we're gonna get into more details though when we bring up or when we discuss the characters individually, the two main characters, which are Junior and Lo. He calls her Lauren. Try not to give them too much right now, just so that we just give them the basic.
trying to give you like a general summary.
Mm-hmm.
But Lauren's character is pretty spicy. Like she is a girl's girl. Like she is pro girl, pro. I mean, very prideful in what she does. Um, and like I'm so trying to like not dive too much into it, but
Hard.
and it's
Because
hard.
you're gonna start talking
It's
about it. Yeah.
it's very hard. But Lauren and Nico actually met in high school, which then they start giving you a little bit of history with their story, which we're not going to get into just yet. Nico is a protector. He is a protector. But at the same time, he's also ready to move on with his life and start something new and go on. Again, trying not to give you too much. But I mean, God, it's so hard not to be able to like diarrhea of the mouth, to get too into it. But the build up to them meeting again, and they're just the way they communicate with each other, like busting balls and stuff like that, is just the way Navessa set them up was just perfect. And then, of course, we start running into some of the characters from Lights Out roll in too as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you who they are because if you read Lights Out, you probably know at this point who it is because Nico's dad is part of that book. And oh, I just don't want to say anymore.
Don't say no more. Don't say no more. Let's jump into comparing though this book to Lights Out, to the first one. So, like Miss Joanna said, it's kind of a continuation from that book. First of all, the book still has Nico a couple of chapters, or Junior. We're gonna call him Junior because his dad's in this
It's
in this
easier.
book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Junior has a couple of chapters, and then it's Lauren, and then Junior, and then Lauren. So it's the same concept that Lights Out had, as far as the format of the novel, right? So when he is talking at the beginning of the book, he does kind of throw out there my cousin and my family and all this stuff. Like if you just picked up this book, you would be able to read it on its own. It's not a continuation of all the characters, but
It's a selection.
yeah.
Couple, maybe four or five with the
Yeah.
dad.
And they're kind of like cameos for some
Yeah.
of the characters from Lights Out.
6,
Yeah.
because Tyler's in there too.
Right. So, but we don't see that until much later in the book. So if you picked up this book and you just started reading it all on its own, no problem. You'll follow the book all the way through from beginning to end. No problem, because this is a story in and of itself. Right. But I feel she did a good job in this book of filling in the missing pieces, or what she left us with in Lights Out. And then she kind of just like picked up and filled in here and there. And because it leaves you with questions, right? Lights Out at the end, right? Do they get married? Do they this? Do they that? And then the chronology of this book compared to Lights Out, again, it's a continuation, but it's not a continuation of just that story, right? Of those characters. It's a story and a continuation, but of different characters, right? So do you feel though she did a better job with Caught Up than she did with Lights Out? Or did you prefer Lights Out over Caught Up?
Oh my God, it's so hard because um I'm like, oh, diarrhea of the mouth. Um, because of the fact that both couples were very different and their stories were very different. I really, for some reason, I was pro Junior and pro Lauren. Like they were into exotic things, but the energy and the chemistry between them was like off the chain. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Josh and Allie, they were nice characters, but and their chemistry was different, right? They had that spicy chemistry, but I just feel like because of the background of Junior and Lauren, I think it made it a lot hotter. If that makes any sense, because he's a mobster, he's a bad boy, She's like,
She's a bad girl.
she's a bad girl, like really a bad girl.
Yeah.
And I think their chemistry was so much spicier
Yeah.
because they just didn't give a shit. Where Allie was a little bit more timid. She did have in Lights Out, she did have more of a shyer side to her,
Right.
but she had that dark side to her at the same time, and she managed to soften Josh. And it was just like Yvette said, it's a continuation, but it's not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you could really get away with just reading Caught Up if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
suggest, though, going back and if you have not read Lights Out, I suggest reading that one first because the subject matter or the lines that Junior has, especially because this is his side of the family, right? He throws stuff out there, spitballs some things, and then you're like, oh, yeah, that reminds me. That was Josh. Josh, I have a little special place in my heart for Josh from Lights Out. But Navessa does a good job of throwing in and involving characters from Lights Out, but not making it about them. When I was reading, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Josh said this or Josh did that or had his little quirky, nerdy side where, well, we're going to get into explaining the difference in the personalities and stuff. But yeah, Junior is just a completely different beast because he is a hard ass because he's been in the mafia for so long, his whole life. And he's basically being groomed to take over his father's empire one day. So, and that of course causes family drama. So we're going to get into all those juicy little details. But what, up to this point though, up to the first half of the book, what was your favorite part so far?
I think my favorite part was I'm just a fan of Junior. Like I really am. Um, to me, his character was he was just I don't know. Y'all have to read it. His character was hardcore and just like I felt like his character was so real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. Like this is oh my God. But my favorite part is when they see each other at the church
Yeah.
when they I mean, you don't at this point you know he's involved somehow, but when they see each other at the church, like
Mm-hmm.
he's just completely mesmerized by her
Yes.
in every way.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you mentioned he has been up to this point, up to the church scene, right? The first church scene, because there's a different church scene that was like,
Mhm.
good Lord have mercy. But up to the first church scene, because they're Catholic, mafia families, they're Catholic. His mom, if you've read Lights Out, then Allie describes his uncle's wife. Oh, I forgot her name. Martha or Mary, I can't remember her name. I think it's Mary. She's Irish, but she's Irish Catholic. She's full blown Irish, but she's Irish Catholic, so she's a devout Catholic. And just your typical, stereotypical mafia people, they go to church every Sunday, right? Even though they do what they do. Goodness gracious. But anyway, so he goes to church with his mom and church ladies and this and that. And at the same time, Lauren goes to church with her grandmother because she was raised by her grandmother. Because, we'll give a little bit of her backstory in a little bit.
Yeah.
But so she goes to church with her grandmother and then she sees him and she's like, good Lord. Like, and she hasn't seen him in years since high school, right?
Yep.
And we'll go
Huge
in.
gap.
Yeah, and we'll go into that story, but the last time that they saw each other, they left each other not necessarily on good terms, right? So he really broke her heart and he really did a number on her self-esteem and all this stuff, right? So he was a bad boy, basically, until you find out what really happened, right? So I guess we can go ahead and jump into that though. Let's talk about the energy between Junior and Lo, because up until that point, like I said, he had not really been in contact with her other than he was her number one sub. And she calls the people that subscribe to her Me For You channel, she calls them subs because they're subscribers. Right? He would pay her extra to do extra stuff and send videos. So she's a sex worker, but she doesn't have sex with anybody. But she sells videos of herself and pictures on this site for her subs. She's called a cam girl. As Joanna said, I've never heard necessarily of a cam girl, but let's talk more about the energy between Junior and Lo. And then I guess we can go a little bit further into each of their characters by introducing each one of them.
Okay, so what I liked about their energy, I think I'm just a hopeless freaking romantic, yo.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I like so much about the energy between them is that they already had genuine love for each other. Like they were in love
They were.
when they were younger.
They were.
So Junior held on to that love. This is why I like him so much. He held on to that love for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was her and only her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's years and years of carrying this love and all these secrets because he has a lot of secrets.
Yeah.
And, keeping tabs on her and all that. So, I think the genuine love cuz she still loved him too, but she was so mad at him, mad at him. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
For years because he broke her heart. In her mind, he broke her heart. So to see them like become united to see each other and it's like it triggers something in
Mm-hmm.
both of them was just amazing. The
Yeah.
energy was it was sweet. No
Electric.
matter what they were doing, it was sweet. It
Yeah.
was just like passionate and just true love.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think in Lights Out, Josh and Allie were a little just on the spicy side. There was
It was
no,
more lust than anything
yeah,
in Lights
than
Out.
anything.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was actually like love. They've loved each other since they were kids.
Well, and I think the main difference there to point out is the fact that, like you said, Josh and Allie, they had to fall in love with each other. They didn't know each
Hmm.
other, so they had to fall in love throughout the story, right? In Caught Up, the love was there before. A lot of time, I want to say it was 10 or 12 years that had passed by,
Yeah.
and the love was still there. He carried a torch for her. She carried a torch for him that she didn't really necessarily know that she was carrying for him until they started interacting a lot more. Then she realized, oh shit, I still love this guy. Because she was very upset. She was very mad. Do you want to talk about what he did to her?
You want me to spill the beans already?
Yes, because what we're saying is people should have already read the book. So at this point, at any point, if you have not read the book and you don't want any spoilers,
Don't
then
listen.
click us off. Go read the book and then come back and listen. And you can join in the conversation. But at this point, I feel like everybody should have already finished reading at
Oh
least the
yeah,
first
for
one.
sure.
So, yeah.
I'm just trying to be careful. I don't want to be diarrhea of the mouth. So, since it gets more into detail in the later half of the book, I'm just going to give you a quick summary.
Yeah.
They were in, I think it was high school or
Mhm.
junior high together,
Yeah. High school.
and
Yeah.
it was high school, and she was like very quiet, and he was like pretty popular because
All the girls
he
wanted
was
the bad boy.
yeah, he was part of his family was well known in that
Mm-hmm.
community. And but his eyes were on her from like day one, and then they ended up, talking and spending time together and doing other things together.
They never had sex back then, but they did other
Oh,
things except for penetration, which I want to say is a little thing of Navessa's. She likes the whole build up to the actual penetration, like with the characters, is what I'm saying.
but Lo
Hmm.
was writing in her journal
Yes.
a story about him and the things that she wanted. She was already spicy when she
Hmm.
was young.
Hmm.
She was writing like a fantasy of them two,
Hmm.
which her best friend got to. And because she was jealous, she ended up spilling it to the world. And that's where all the trauma started
Ensues. Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So she
I
was
can't,
basically
we can't
betrayed.
get too
Yeah.
too into it because they start telling it towards the end.
Right. So she was basically betrayed by a lot of people. The journal that the best friend, she made photocopies and plastered them all over the
Hmm.
school. And because she was jealous of this girl, of Lo. And then, so she was betrayed by her best friend. She was betrayed by Junior as well, because when all of that came out, no, let me take a step backwards here. Junior's dad, who is Nico, Uncle Nico from Lights Out, right? Junior's dad is the head of his faction of the mafia, right? Her dad, Lo's dad, that she did not have a very good relationship with, he was also in the mafia. And him and Uncle Nico used to, Tommy was his name. Tommy and Nico used to butt heads all the time because Nico was in the cleanup business after the murders had happened, and Tommy was a hitman. So they would butt heads all the time, right?
It was a very bad relationship.
Right. And so when Tommy found out that his daughter was dating Nico's son, Junior, he went to Junior, not to Nico, but to Junior, and said, "Stay away from my daughter or I'm going to kill you." Literally going to kill. And he's a hitman for the mafia. You think he's not going to kill him? Like, he would kill him. Stay away from my daughter or else, right? Was the thing. So then,
And Lauren did not know that.
of course
And
not,
then
because
Junior disappeared.
Lauren and Tommy didn't have a very close relationship. Lauren was raised by her grandmother, right? After her mother left her. And then Tommy was always gone because he always had work shit to do for the mafia. Anyway, Junior then goes to his dad. So Junior goes to Nico and tells him, "Hey, Tommy threatened me that if I continue this thing with Lauren, he's going to kill me. What do I do?" And he's like, "Stop seeing Lauren." Basically, because I don't want you associated with that family. Yeah, da, da, da. Again, family rivalry, right? So when all of this came about, that the best friend took her journal and basically told the whole school all her deep dark desires, right, that she wanted to do with Junior.
Lots of desires.
She took it as the best friend was saying, "Oh yeah, she's a slut, she's a hoe, blah blah blah. She's doing all these things with Junior, right?" And she had done some stuff with Junior, but not what the best friend was saying. So anyway, when Junior was confronted, he denied all those allegations, right? He denied
Right?
everything because he was trying to protect Lo, right? And himself, because he did not want to die.
Again, Lo does not know any of this.
No,
None of it.
unbeknownst to her. And so all she knows is that Junior betrayed her best friend betrayed her, and then the schools, the teachers were chastising her. The counselor was like, "What the fuck? You stop being a little slut," basically. Didn't believe her. And the principal, he didn't even, there was no repercussion for I forgot the best friend's name, but there was no repercussions on the best friend either for slander, defamation. So she actually had to leave. She left school. She didn't go to school for a week. And then when she came back, Junior was gone from school. He was gone for his own
Make a note of
different
the
reasons.
list of people
Yeah.
that Yvette told you about.
Yeah.
Make a note.
Yeah.
Mental note.
Mental note. Yeah. So he always looked at her, though, in a very protective way, right? He always wanted to make sure she was okay. And he knew that she was in this industry, that she was a cam girl. She went to a different school. She made new friends. They didn't know about her. And then she finally said, "This is what happened. This is why I left my old school." Anyway, very long story, fun story. Long story short is, by the time she was in her 20s, she was good to go. She was like, "This is what I want to do with my life." The grandmother, everybody knew what she did. She wasn't hiding it. It wasn't like she was embarrassed about it or trying to be discreet. No, no, no.
She's like,
Knew.
this is who I am,
Yeah.
and this is what I do, and you like it, you like it, you don't. And I think after the disappointment, I feel like she built that confidence in, like, who gives a shit what people think about me?
Right.
I am who I am. And yeah, that's what goes through my head. That's what I think about. This is what I wanted to do, and this is what I'm going to do now.
Right.
I mean, she's straight girl power.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people are going to think that. but she even went to the freaking mayor's office and all that stuff trying to find rights
Yes.
for the ladies of the night and the cam girls and all that, like for them to have rights as well. And she was a
The
big
prostitutes, the hookers, the ladies of the night. Yeah. Um, she did. She
I'm
did.
just trying to be
Okay,
their
so
their their work.
I know. You're trying to be politically correct, which that was one thing I will tell you that I did not truly enjoy, and I know I might get some backlash on this, but um I thought that some parts of being politically correct in this book were kind of shoved down our throats a little bit, and I don't like watching movies like that, much less reading about it. So I told Miss Joanna, I'm like, yeah, when there were certain parts where she was trying to be, I would fix it in my own head. I would recorrect, then I would go
I've
back a
heard the
couple
same thing.
sentences and
I'm
I
like,
would read it properly. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's just what I do. And to each his own, but it didn't stop me from reading the book. I still liked it. I loved it actually. So yeah. Anyway, so speaking of reading a little bit, like, you want to read some chapters? And I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold and my nose is like still running sometimes, but anyway, yeah.
so I'm not going to read chapters. I'm going to play you clips
Okay, let's go for it.
because mine was all audible.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I'm gonna see
do
what
you?
I can find here, what I want to share. I'll read because I do it old school. But whatever you want.
I had everything set up, and now I have to look for everything. But here we go. So I just like the fact that you guys can hear their voices and
Hmm.
kind of start picturing it a little bit in your head, imagining who this person is. But you want to play a little bit of Junior so they can hear Junior.
Sure.
This starts on chapter 1.
Soaked into my shirt, sprayed onto my pants, and buried beneath my blunted nail bits. This was why I always wore head to toe black. With any other color, the blood would be too obvious, but with black, the wet spots were easier to explain. Someone threw a drink at me, or a passing car hit a puddle, and I got splashed. I'd had to come up with countless excuses over the years. Thankfully, I wouldn't need any of them tonight because it was pissing down rain. Lightning arced overhead, painting the distant high-rises in silver and white. Thunder chased after it, rattling the windows of nearby buildings. The city looked like Gotham on nights like this. Gritty, dangerous. I pulled my gaze from the storm. 3 figures stood beside me on the river's edge, all dressed in black because they'd learned the same lesson I had about bloodstains. They were motionless, eyes dead as they stared straight ahead, jackets flapping around them like errant wings. Another bolt of lightning tore through the sky, bathing us in silver. We looked more like a flock of vultures ready to descend on a corpse than a group of brothers who were supposed to be out celebrating. 4 days. It had been raining for 4 fucking days, and the river was so bloated with runoff that the car we'd just pushed into it was being sucked beneath the surface with alarming ease. Maybe we'd get lucky and the cops would think its owner had gotten caught in a flash flood and drowned, instead of what we'd really done to him. A spark of red flared to life in my periphery. I turned to see my youngest brother, Greg, lift a cigarette to his lips. "Those things will kill you," I said. He blew smoke into the wind. "Not before something else does." With that, he turned and strode away, Stefan trailing in his wake. Alec, the brother closest to me in age, met my eyes across the gap they left between us. "We done here?" I nodded. Yeah, we were done. Tommy Marchetti had been dealt with, just like Dad ordered. Alec pulled up the collar of his jacket to keep the rain off his neck as he followed after our younger brothers, leaving me alone to watch the tail end of Tommy's Beamer disappear into the night black water. The old bastard was finally gone, finally out of the way, and I couldn't have asked for a better birthday present. I waited just long enough to make sure the car wasn't going to inconveniently bob back to the surface before striding into the warehouse, crouched at the river's edge. The floor was poured concrete, and the clapboard walls were old enough that the wind whistled through the cracks between them with every gust. But at least I wasn't getting rained on anymore. My brothers stood beneath the glow of a fluorescent light, their eyes trained on a large red smear at their feet. Alec pointed at it. What do you want us to do about this?
Side note, they're burying somebody. I know this will go on and on and on. There's like 13 minutes onto this
Oh
book.
my gosh.
So that's what they're in the middle. I just wanted y'all to hear Junior and what he sounds like
Yeah.
in somebody's head. But
In my head, he
and
doesn't sound like that, but it was the same thing with Lights Out. Like in my head, Josh sounded completely different than the Audible version.
oh, I didn't like Josh's voice in the Audible voice
Yeah, no,
version. I preferred Junior's.
I
It's
do like
more
Junior's, and that's how
Italian mafioso.
that's how he sounded in my head, as far as like having a deep voice, like mysterious almost. So that part I do agree with, but in my head, he sounded even more Italian. I don't know if that makes sense, but like your typical mafia dude. That's how he sounded, and that's how Uncle Nico sounded in my head too. So
Oh, to me, Uncle Nico was more in my head. He was like old school Italian with the Italian accent,
yes,
not the city accent. Like
right.
Junior, I could see growing up with the city accent because
Uh-huh.
that's where he grew up. But
Hmm.
Nico didn't grow up here, so
Hmm. Hmm.
that's how I. Isn't it interesting how we both pictured them different?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Um,
Which is why I love reading, by the way, versus just watching a movie, right?
mhm.
Because I feel like our own um, imagination gets to work and we see them as in our minds completely different. It's kind of the
Mhm.
same thing as when you go to paint and sip and everybody is painting the same thing. They have the same instructor and the instructor's painting up front in front of the classroom and then everybody else's paintings, they're completely different. It's
They all look different.
their own interpretation of what
Mhm.
they're seeing and what they're being told, right? It's the same thing with reading. You make up your own the characters and their voices and everything in your mind, right? Everybody's different. I love that though. I was gonna say something. What was I gonna say? Oh, what we didn't do is describe them. Before I read on, I'll read a little bit of Lauren's. Um, and I'm jumping all the way to chapter 16 because it's at right after a very spicy scene and I'll set it up. But let's compare. So in Lights Out, Josh was 6'5", big old burly guy, like he's just a big dude, right? A lot of muscles and everything.
Mhm.
And the way she describes Junior is he's still a lot taller than her and he's still like a very strong guy, but not like I work out in the gym every day type of guy. Not those kind
Like
of muscles
Josh.
like Josh. Josh had those kind of muscles, like ripped, right? He was just washboard abs, the whole nine, right? The V coming down. Nico had a different type of like a worker's body.
Mhm.
He's carrying heavy bodies and digging holes. He was still very fit, but in a different kind of way, right?
Which I like too,
Yeah, me too.
because it like
I think of like a dad bod, but like a fit dad bod. And then of course the dark eyes and the dark hair, still the same as Josh. Dark eyes, dark hair. But light skin. I think Nico or Junior is a little more like olive toned. Like she says he has a tan year round. Whereas Lauren is a little bit more on the like the lighter side. That's how she's
mhm.
described. And she's a little bit more dainty in comparison to Allie. Allie, we know she was 5'9".
She's all legs.
She's a Amazon woman and she's strong. She's very fit. Her muscle, both Allie and Josh are like muscular people, whereas Lauren and Junior are more like normal people.
Yeah, they're more regular people. You can kind of relate to them too.
Right.
Josh was a god from freaking back in the Greek
Yep. Yeah.
mythology.
From Mount Olympus. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she was a Greek goddess, Allie, basically. Well, Italian goddess. And I still don't remember what Josh's nationality was. Damn. I still can't remember,
But
but
he was also like, oh, they say towards the end he has like, I don't know if it's Greek. He has all the very dark features from. They mention it. I I didn't. I remember them mentioning him and what he was because they bust his balls because he's not Italian.
right. Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
um,
Um,
they describe him a little bit in the book.
and we're gonna go a little bit into further detail, comparing and talking a little bit more about Junior and Josh and how their friendship developed in a little bit. But I just wanted to throw out there, though, the main difference between Lauren and Allie was the fact that Allie is so much taller and Lauren is more like 5'4", 5'5". She's kind of average height. And I think Junior is probably about 5'11". He's still tall, but not as tall as Josh. Josh is a big guy. He's 6'5".
Yeah. The characters are definitely, I mean, that's what I liked about Navessa with these two books. They're very, very different.
Super
Very
different.
different.
And even in like you mentioned earlier with Lauren and Allie. Allie had a softer side to her, while Lo does too. Lo is a little bit more feisty. She's a feisty Italian. She's like, don't fuck with me because I will come at you. Guns blazing type of person. You know what I mean? But she's a lot smaller and daintier than Allie was. Just the differences in them. I really, really appreciate that from Navessa, that she created these characters and they're just completely different. It's not like a cookie cutter. Wash, rinse, and repeat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like that. So I'm going to read a couple of pages. So what happens here, this is Lauren. And this is chapter 16. What happens here is what she wrote in her
In her little journal.
that got her in trouble when she was in high school, right? That started all the trouble when she was in high school. So Junior decided that he was going to play out that fantasy for her because it was a fantasy that she had of him. Because they never actually did anything, right? Okay, let me scratch that. They did do stuff.
It's spicy.
They did a lot of spicy stuff. He made her come all the time because he was always fingering her and just making her come all the time. But they never had sex, right? And she always wanted to go down on him and, provide him the same pleasure that he was always providing her. And her little fantasy was to go to the arcade, the local arcade, and go into the photo booth and sit him down and her get on her knees and take care of business. That was her. So he decided, I'm going to do this for her. So before what I'm going to read, I'm not going to read because that's for you to read and enjoy the spiciness because it goes into much detail. Okay. But this is
Lots of details in this one.
Yes, this is the aftermath. Oh, and mind you, she was pissed off at him because the first 15 chapters, they're like this with the first meeting at the church and all that stuff.
She's always pissed off at him.
She's not sure if she wants to give him another chance. And then just when she does, he does something to fuck things up. At this point, she's basically giving him another chance, but at the same time, she's trying to give herself another chance as well. Another chance at happiness. So she's having an internal struggle because she's not sure if she really wants him. Oh, she knows she wants him. She was very clear about that. Her body, but mentally she's like, ugh, like I'm supposed to be mad at him.
She's like, shut up down there. Shut up down there.
Behave. But yeah. Anyway, so I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs here. Chapter 16, Lauren. I stumbled out of the arcade into the humid night air, nearly knocking Taylor over. Taylor's one of her best friends now. My legs didn't want to work, and my clit was overstimulated to the point that every rub of fabric was jarring. I had no idea where Junior had learned to do that, but it felt like I should send the person who taught him a very nice bouquet of flowers. Whoa, Ryan said, grabbing my shoulders. You okay? He didn't drug you or anything, did he? Walter pressed too close. Walter's the dog, her big dog. And I had to dodge sideways to keep his nose out of my crotch. I'm fine, I said, grinning. Taylor snorted. Oh, she's been drugged all right with sex hormones.
Taylor's a hoot, man.
Yes, she is.
She is a hoot.
I wrapped my arms around my roommate's waists, between both of them, and turned them away from the arcade. Come on, let's go home, and I'll tell you all about it. Back at our brownstone, we gathered on the couch with a bottle of wine and a Love Island rerun playing quietly in the background. So, Taylor said, did you fuck? I shook my head. He didn't even let me touch him. Just carried me into the photo booth and went down on me. Taylor's eyes nearly bugged out of her head. And he paid you $7,000 to do it? Part of the setup to this is that and I think that's why she agreed to it, because as a sub, as her number one sub, right, he would ask for certain things and then he would pay her a lot of money to do it, like $2,000, $3,000 per request, right? So this one was $7,000, and that's part of the reason why she said yes, because she didn't want to. She was pissed at this point, right? So she said, yeah, I'd feel guilty, but it's his money. If that's how he wants to spend it, who am I to tell him otherwise? Ryan nodded. That's the spirit. Taylor tipped her head sideways. You look different. Something's changed. I had to give it to her. Her intuition was killer. I may or may not have invited him back to Velvet. Quickly, I caught them up on the conversation we'd had post hookup and the fact that I was considering giving Junior a chance to redeem himself. Taylor listened with wide eyes. Wow, you must really like him if you're breaking your one strike policy. Again, she's having this internal struggle, right? Because she's not sure she really wants to give him a chance, right? Like a real chance, right? Because he had fucked up at the... And we're going to go into what Velvet is, okay?
I was going to say, you're going to tell them what Velvet is?
We are. We're going to have a big old discussion about that, but not right now. Anyway, so she said, I stared into my wine, trying to find the right words. It's complicated. Yes, he hurt me, but I believe that he thought he was doing the right thing. And more important, I believe he's sorry. And I can't deny the way I feel about him. I shook my head. There's this pull between us, this connection. I felt it a decade ago. Okay, it was 10 years. I felt it a decade ago, and it's still there. It's not just physical either. I want to get to know him more, find out who he is now. Ryan set his glass down and turned to me. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer about all of this, but Junior's still in the mafia, doing God knows what. And isn't his father like the devil himself? Are you really okay with that? I sighed. I'm not okay with it, but I don't think Junior is either. You should have seen how scared he was as a teen. Knowing he was about to graduate and go into the family business, he tried to hide it from me, but I could see it in his eyes, hear it in his voice whenever he talked about his dad. I spent half our time together trying to make him laugh just so he'd get a break from all the doom and gloom. I don't think he would have chosen this life for himself if he had the chance. And he might and this might sound kind of fucked, but growing up in the old neighborhood, the mob was just something you accepted as part of life. Nona and Nono Bianchi owned the corner deli, and I used to do my homework at the counter while they worked at the store. Every other Friday, some big goon would come in and Nono would hand him a brown paper envelope full of cash. Protection money? Taylor asked. I nodded. Yeah, Ryan said. Protection against them breaking their kneecaps if they didn't pay on time. That's the cliche, I agreed, but the reality is more complex. Everyone in the neighborhood knows each other. Their kids go to school together. They sit next to each other at Mass every Sunday. If people can't pay, the mob is good about letting it slide within reason. And that protection money is actually protection money. What do you mean? Ryan asked. The store was broken into once when I was in middle school, I said. Someone smashed out the glass on the rear door, took all the cash from the register, and trashed the place. Instead of calling the cops or their insurance broker, my grandparents called the man who collected their money. By the next afternoon, the store was cleaned up, all the cash was replaced, and the new back door was practically a bank vault. My grandparents were promised that it would never happen again. And even after they retired, my older sister took over the store. It hasn't. Yeah.
That's a whole another relationship
It is.
right there.
Yep, with the sister and the yeah. Oh Lord, yeah. We'll get into that later. But anyway, as you can see by my beautiful rendition of this little excerpt,
She should be reading.
the fact that I like that Vanessa does this. She's spicy, right? She's talking about fucking in the arcade and him going down on her and all this stuff. Her still not getting the chance to freaking put his dick in her mouth. All of that. And then it switches to, yeah, well, let me tell you the story behind it. She did a good job with that with Lights Out as well.
Yeah.
I feel like
she switches gears, like, and then, yeah.
but very seamlessly, like all in conversation, like just so I like that. There's way more smut in this book. There's way more spice in this book than in Lights Out. But at the same time, the story is still there and the story still develops even between. She knows how to just envelop you in the story and take you from these really high highs to these really like, whoa. So, I appreciate that about her. I think she's really good at that. What do you think?
Oh, I think so too. And the way the characters grow too, as she's telling the story, and everything starts to connect, and you start to understand what's going on with everybody. And I mean, she's a great storyteller. She really is. I mean, I love how everything just envelopes and just seamlessly falls together at the end, you know. But the description, I feel like if I ever met her, she is super quirky. Like,
Yes.
she is very funny, very sarcastic. I think a lot of these characters have her personality in them.
Different parts of
I
her personality, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Especially the female characters. Ooh.
Love to ask her, like, just pick her brain about, like, how do you sit down and like start coming up with these stories? Is it like things that you would like to experience one day in life,
Or have
with
you?
your partner, or have you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, when you develop this person, do you put pieces of you in there? Do you put pieces of your spouse in some of the characters too? You know, like, just your friends. Like, how do you come up with these people and their backgrounds and stuff? I think it would be such a cool thing to be able to chat with her about.
It would
I'm
be
so
a great
curious.
conversation. It would be a great conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm so curious.
All right. Well, we are at our slice of advice for tonight. Miss Joanna has that for us.
I do. I had it up, and of course, I need to learn how to turn off my you know how your phone falls asleep? I need to start taking that off. Oh, we'll do this one since it kind of blends in with what we're discussing with this book. So this is advice for men,
Ooh.
and this kind of interprets a little bit to Junior. I tried to find things that. So here's my slice of advice for you, gentlemen. Putting a good woman's heart in anxiety mode because of your actions and still expecting her to be your calming peace is next level audacity.
I love that. I freaking
Junior.
love that. Yep. 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 That is for Junior. Exactly.
Because sometimes you know, men are so protective. Some men are. Let me correct that. Some men are very protective, that they think that by doing things behind a woman's back is it's a lot easier than actually telling or communicating with your partner that, this is happening or whatever, instead of causing all the anxiety. Your woman has insecurities from previous relationship. A mature man will try to not go there or change direction if something's going to happen, like knowing your person.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. And it could go for men too, because women nowadays are off the hook now too. So let's just be honest. There's personality. That's why I said what I said.
Yeah. No, I 1,000% I agree, because Junior was like me, caveman type of thing. Josh was kind of like that, but Junior was next level because of his line of work. Um, and the
Yeah,
way,
Josh would just steal your identity.
yeah. And
He was a computer nerd.
well, but like Josh, he did things that were illegal, basically
Hmm.
tracking her and things like that, unbeknownst to her, right? So he did things that were not by the book, but he was doing it to protect her, to keep tabs on her so that he can protect her. So at the same time, you're like, ah, oh my God, we're a little bit crazy. If somebody was doing that to a friend of ours, we would probably say, girl, what the fuck? This guy is mad crazy. But when it's happening to us, because we see that it's coming with good intentions, okay, sure, you're stalking me, but because you want me to be safe. No, he's stalking you still. You know?
That's why. That's why it's the calming piece is not the level of audacity. Junior had a lot of audacity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh,
And the helmet cover is because Junior rides a motorcycle.
yeah.
In the book, the cover with the
Mhm.
helmet is because he rides a motorcycle. That's how he stalks her.
The other one was a mask because Josh wore masks. Do you want to tell them about that? She walks out of her apartment and she sees this guy wearing the helmet.
All
She sees the
black
motorcycle
with the
and she's
helmet.
like, damn.
Hmm.
And then the very next chapter is Junior and he's saying, ah, she was checking me out.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so cute.
It's so funny. He's like, yeah. Anyway, I love that though. I love the fact that we get two different perspectives throughout the book.
You know what
I like her
I
style.
really loved about Lights Out? Um, Allie's personality is more quirky. Like she's very like quick-witted. Um, and she would give it to Josh. Like
Mm-hmm.
she was just very just like boom, 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 like
Mm-hmm.
just super sarcastic and punchy. And I think that's why I like Junior so much in this one because he's so funny
Yeah.
with his one-liners and his sarcasm.
Yeah.
Like he's really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And he was humorous, but I find Junior more entertaining because he's just like, wow, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very true. I feel like Josh and Lo are the same. Their humor is a little bit more dry.
Hmm.
And when they say something, it's more of a sarcastic tone. But they're also very serious people. Lo is a little bit more on the serious side, even though she exposes herself, literally exposes herself, right? All the freaking time. She's a little bit more reserved when in comparison to Junior, right? Junior's kind of like out there, except when she's in her element. When she's in her element, which is why her character kind of resonated with me a little bit. I did love Junior. I love Junior's what's it called? But I feel like he like is a manly man. So I don't see myself in him. Like with
Hmm.
Josh, I saw myself in him. Oh my God, that's my humor. Same thing with Lo. She's very reserved, very, hey, don't cross this line. But then she's having this internal dialogue and battle about, oh my God, but I really want to fuck him right now.
Like, open your mouth again. Oh
But
my
fuck
God.
you, you know, like. that type of thing. It was the same thing with Josh. He was really trying to, oh my God, like I might kill her. Do I have these tendencies of my father and this and that? And so he had that internal struggle as well. So I'm really glad that it's not always the guy. Well, we've only read 2 books of hers, but in this case, it was more the girl that was having the internal struggle, the
Yeah.
female character. And whereas in Lights Out, it was more the internal struggle was with Josh, with the male character. And you're right, Allie and Junior, maybe because they were related, but Allie
That's
and
true.
Junior have the
That's true.
same type of personality where they're more playful and witty, and the comebacks are like bam, 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 really fast. They don't even have to think. Allie would have Josh spinning in his head, like, what the fuck? Oh my God, okay. She likes me. That type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, but he was very witty as well. It was
Hmm.
just more of a dry sense of humor, which is the
Hmm.
same thing with Lo. She takes herself a little bit more serious than,
Oh,
say,
yeah.
Junior does.
And I think that's with Lo, I feel like that part of her is almost protective that she's that way because she has been let down for so
Yes.
many years by so many people.
Yes.
So
All the
she's like,
trauma that she's been through.
yeah. So she's very like, which is weird because of what she does for a living. You would think that, but I
Yep.
think that's where she was more herself, was doing what she was doing. It
Right.
was more her. That's who she was.
Yeah. Yeah. But then when she's in her element and she
Hmm.
feels confident, then she's like, "Oh, this is me." And this is why it pissed her off that he did what he did to her when he first went to Velvet, which we're going to get to, but let's bring it back a little bit to Junior. Okay, let's discuss though the dynamic between Junior and Nico, his dad. Let's try not to give a
Oof.
little bit too much because the build up and the blow up happened in the second half of the book, so we'll wait for that and discuss that later. But let's kind of give the groundwork of what the dynamic is between Nico and Junior. Now, we already know from Lights Out that Nico is very family oriented. He wants to have this relationship with his niece, right? But he takes the approach of forcing it on her
Hmm.
and her fiance and Josh, right? So that doesn't allow Allie to actually have any desire or want to be a part of his family, to have a relationship with him. She loves her aunt, his wife, Junior's mom. She loves her, but she cannot stand her uncle because she doesn't like his approach to everything. She doesn't like the fact that he's trying to control her, protect her, control her. So knowing that we know that about Uncle Nico in Lights Out, let's talk a little bit about how he is with Junior and his other sons.
I think Uncle Nico has to be in control of everything. Everything is forced, which makes me, Navessa, if you're listening, you have to put together Nico and Moira's love story. Because I think there's something there, baby.
Oh
I
yeah.
think there's something there, the way she loves him. Oop, yeah. So we'll get more into that later. But he loves family, but he wants to be in control of everything. And I think that's just a lifestyle thing. This is how he's always been. This is how he runs his business. This is how his business got as big as it got, was because he's in control. And I think his love language to his kids is giving orders, is having their back whenever they need it. But there's always a catch to his love. It's not just love. I love you when you go put somebody's head in the ground, which is what Junior was doing in the beginning of the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
He's putting a body part in a box in the ground. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, like that's there's always a catch to his love to the boys. And I think the boys have gotten to a period in their lives that they know it's not good and they're not going to evolve by staying in this. Either something's going to happen, either they're going to die or their father's going to die. Nico feels in control because I feel like he feels as though he's starting to lose control when we get more in the book of his business.
Yes.
And the only thing he can control and maintain and
Or his
keep
son.
together is his family,
Yeah.
which is, it's bizarre in a way, but I kind of get it. I understand why he's doing what he's doing.
I will say, without going too far, I will say that my heart was still kind of reaching out for Uncle Nico because I liked him so much in Lights Out. Even though I knew he was coming from this rugged place or rough, I should say, rough place because of his affiliation with the mob and just how he grew up and how he's raising his children into the business. So I had like a soft spot for him is what I'm trying to say.
That's why I want to know more about him because I
Yeah.
think his story and his wife's story would be so good.
Yeah, yeah. I will say though that towards the end of the book, I was like, dude, and
He disappointed me.
we'll get more into that in the next episode, right? When we talk about the second half of the book. But yeah, disappointment is a good word for it. For me, it was more of a little bit of love just went out the door. Like,
Yeah.
dude, like the dynamic between him and Junior, I feel like you're right. He was trying to mold him, and he was harder on Junior than he was on any of the other boys because Junior's the oldest, right? And the reins are going to be handed over to Junior in Nico's eyes. Meanwhile, Junior wants to get out from under his father. He wants to go do something completely different, make a name for himself on his own without his father's affiliation. And he definitely doesn't want to take over the family business. So,
He loathes Lauren too.
yes,
He can't stand her.
yes. Nico cannot stand her, but only because, well, for two things. One,
Yeah.
because she's Tommy's daughter by name, by blood, by default. I don't like you, right? The other thing is the fact that because in his eyes he's taking over the reign, and I'm giving a little bit too much here, but that's okay. Because he's giving over the reins to Junior, he wants to make sure that Junior's with somebody like Moira. Somebody who's going to back him up and protect him no matter what, be at his side and not sharing her body. Now, as a mother, if my son was dating somebody like that or was married to somebody like that or had children with somebody like that, I would totally be like, she's showing her body off, sharing her body with other people for money. I get that girl power, empowerment, blah, blah, blah. But a little bit of dignity and self respect, plus it does reflect on you, right? And that was his dad's point of view. And that was the reason why he loathed low. He did not like her at all. And he definitely didn't want to see his son with her at all. At all. And he doesn't want that for his son. But also because it reflects badly on the family business.
Well, you know how those Italians, old school,
Oh,
old
yeah.
school.
Oh, yeah.
You want someone by your side that represents you and is respected. Old school.
Let's be real though, Hispanic families are like that too, Latino families.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so changing gears a little bit. What do you think about Navessa's kinks? She writes about sex workers. She writes about sex clubs in this book. In this particular book. We discussed her kinks in Lights Out. But what about in this book, the sex workers, even throwing in cannibalism? Who does I mean, I know we want to ask her, but what do you think?
Well, if I was an author, I would want to experience some of these things
Yeah.
because I want to write things that are
What you know.
factual.
Yeah.
Or I would also interview people that are in this line of work
Yeah.
to get information.
And she
Some
did.
people are good.
She did
And
interview. Yeah.
I think some people have fantasies in their heads that they don't ever do.
Yeah.
And it's just easier to talk to other people about it because, yeah, they're interested but not interested kind of thing. Or they're interested and they want all the details because maybe possibly they might want to go and do whatever they're doing.
Right.
Um, so you know, I definitely think that if she's putting material like this together, she's either possibly thought about it, um, and I know for a fact she's like sat down and talked to people about it just to get information. And I think that's where her creativity comes from, is from other people and other people's experiences. That's
Mm-hmm.
why, that's what makes these books so good.
Yeah.
It's because the way she describes things, it's like, it's almost like her experience.
Mm-hmm.
It might be other people, but it's like her. Like, you know, we're thinking, well, maybe she goes through these, maybe she does these things. It makes it, you know, it makes it her story
Yeah.
in a way. The way she's a great writer.
Descriptive and
Yeah,
detailed about it. Yeah.
detailed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree
Not
with
a
you.
lot of people would agree with us, you know,
Yeah.
because of what she's writing. But she's taking away from all the exotic stuff or erotic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's a very talented writer.
I
So
agree.
I love how she builds her characters.
Yeah.
That's why I want to ask her, like, how much research do you do? Does it take you 2-3 years to do this kind of
Yeah.
research?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that you're truly interested in? You're speaking out for some of these people because they don't have like certain rights, like Lauren fighting for
Sex workers
the
to have
sex
benefits and
workers'
yeah.
rights.
Yeah.
So I'm so curious.
Protection and benefits. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, let's compare or talk
Wait,
about.
what are your thoughts?
I
What are
agree with
your
you. No, I agree with you. I think that to some degree, I think I said it earlier, to some degree, writers, what they do, authors, what they do is they derive these stories and then they embellish the stories. But a lot of times they're like what they've gone through, personal experiences, or something that they're really into that they then, research and stuff. I think it was in the book, in the acknowledgments or something in the back. Towards the end, where she does say like she thanks everybody who was so kind to her to share their stories and their thoughts and stuff. So she did go out and actually interview prostitutes and sex workers, and she went to a sex club, which we're going to talk about right now.
Hmm.
She went to a sex club, her and her husband. She says it. So she was appreciative of everybody who contributed to the authenticity of the book, because she actually went out there and got the information. And like you said, some things she experienced. And I mean, she doesn't go into detail about what exactly, but she said, "I thank my husband for being willing, to go on these escapades with me, and basically protecting her too along the way because
Hmm.
doesn't want her doing all
Yeah,
that by
nobody wants to
herself."
do things on
Yeah,
their own.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, if you have a partner, why not do it with your partner? So
That's that's what I love. You just said something that I love. She was authentic.
mm-hmm.
That's what makes you think that whether it's a little piece of her or not, it's her.
Yeah,
It's her experiences because she's so authentic,
yeah,
which makes the book just come together.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I 1,000% agree. Um, we're gonna tell you what velvet is. You want to tell our audience what
Drum
velvet
roll, please.
is? Where's that drum roll
Hold on,
thingy?
hold on. There's no drum roll. Oh no. Sorry, my bad. I really need to go through these freaking sounds, and I can't do the gunshot because then you guys wait.
Ding, ding, ding.
No. Okay, carrying on. Back to the seriousness.
Yeah.
So Velvet
Mm-hmm.
is a sex club
Bum bum
uh,
bum.
for everybody under the sun.
What does she
Except
call it
wait,
though? She calls it a. She doesn't call it a sex club. They don't call it a sex club. That's what it is. But she calls it something else. She calls it
hold on, I have it in my notes.
um a play club, I think. No? Or maybe that's what Junior calls
I
it.
just had it here because I was scrolling through. to see, like, when we're talking.
Maybe that's what Junior calls it, the play club. But because she corrects him, he calls it a sex club, and she's like, "That's not what it is. It's more than that. It's more than just people. It's not just a big old orgy."
Kind of is, but
In our
when they
eyes, it
start,
is. In our eyes, it is. Not in her eyes. In her eyes, people are being,
they're being themselves.
and they're able to express their
They're open.
artistic self,
Yeah.
things like that, because you have the
Sex club.
voyeurism, you have the where couples go and they have sex in a room and they have an audience, and then everybody
Lauren,
starts.
it's a sex club.
It's a fucking sex club, but yeah, I agree.
It's where swingers go to swing and people go to fuck.
So what I wanted to do is compare it to, we had a friend who in season 1 exposed us in some way, not exposed us physically, right? We never went to it, but she told us about the swinging lifestyle and also told us about the sex club in Georgia, in Atlanta. So compare, I guess, what our friend told us about the actual sex club in Georgia versus how Lo explains the sex club in the book in Caught Up,
It's exactly the way it was explained. I mean,
with the different
our
rooms and the, yeah.
our beautiful friend, she explained it in the best beautiful way that she could.
Yeah.
You know, but it's definitely,
It's a sex club.
it's a sex club. I mean, and when she starts describing and you start reading the scenes and everything,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a big old orgy. It's a sex club. There's people with balls in their mouth. There's people with, like, there's all kinds of different rooms. There's private rooms, and it was a lot like our friend described. I mean, obviously it was a little bit higher. I feel like it was a little bit higher class than what they're describing here, but
Yeah. But even down to
very similar.
down to the whole you can't sell alcohol. You can serve it. You just can't sell it. So when you come, it's a VIP. You have to pay for a membership. Junior finds out, right? Because the first time he goes in, he's following her, he's tracking her. He feels like she's in danger somehow. I don't remember the details on that one, but he follows her to this building. It's an industrial building. What the fuck is she doing here, right? So then he goes inside and he realizes, oh shit, it's a sex club. But he has to pay for a membership. You have to pay to get in, and you can do whatever. Anyway, but down to that. So it's a VIP, membership based, and also bring your own booze. You give it to the bartenders and they pour you from your own bottle. It's literally the same exact thing. I would love to know where Navessa lives. I really would love to know where Navessa lives, because she was explaining it to a T.
Well, what this is a kicker. I'm gonna read you one of the, like, a small little thing.
Yeah.
Velvet operates under strict regulations. It operates under strict regulations,
does.
which means there's a shit ton of rules,
Yeah.
and you have to pay in order to get there.
Yeah.
And I think they do background checks and everything. They were saying, like, it's a whole, like, thing to even be able to become a member there.
Yep. Yep. Because Junior was not afraid, but he was worried that they were gonna find something out about him and put his
Yeah.
name out in the system, and he didn't want to do that. So I forgot how he circumvented that. Did he have a fake
I
ID?
think Josh helped him with that.
Yes, he got him a fake ID or something,
Yeah.
right? Or he scrubbed
Yeah.
his online stuff. I don't know, something. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, he connected to the to their system.
Yeah.
That's how he got him in there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I think for me, when I was reading that about the sex club, I was reading it, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, that sounds like the one in I forgot what it was called.
ATL. There's one everywhere in every city.
There is, and in every major city. You're right. You're right. All right. I have our what the fuck moment for today. And this one is, it's a reel that I came across, and it's like a do-gooder gone wrong, right? A good deed gone wrong. Check it out. It's crazy. Hold on,
And it ended in disaster. The influencer's name is Demi Skipper. Starting with a single bobby pin, she traded items one by one over a span of 18 months until she traded up to an actual house. But instead of keeping the house, she decided to give it to somebody in need. Oh yeah, my sister in Christ! Her name is Shay. She was 19 years old. She lost both of her parents. She had to move in with her very sick grandparents and her alcoholic uncle. And she just really desperately needed stability. And Demi gave that to her. Her and her husband decided to not only give her the house, but also completely renovate it. New kitchen, new appliances, new everything. And Shay didn't have to make a single payment on the house. She didn't have to pay a penny. But several weeks after Shay and her boyfriend moved in, it got weird. Demi learned from Shay's neighbor that she hadn't been home for several weeks, so Demi, over the span of several months, kept following up with her, wondering when she would return back to the house, and she just kept getting excuse after excuse from Shay. I'm so nervous I could poop through a pasta strainer. 14 months later, Demi hadn't come back. So Demi was forced to drive all the way from out of state to come in and check in on the house to make sure it was okay. And it was not. It was completely trashed and desperately needing repairs. In fact, it was in such bad shape that Demi had to reclaim the house, which then resulted in Shay posting this TikTok.
Oh my God, I'm dead. He's
Oh, Shay! What is Shay short for? Shame! Demi received a ton of backlash from Shay's video going viral, so she really had no choice but to come clean and share these screenshots and receipts showing the real story. And this story, if anything, is proof that doing good things for people can sometimes lead to chaos. But I don't think it should stop us from trying to be good people.
So I don't know if you got the gist of it, but yeah. So this chick goes on TikTok and she's like, I want to trade this bobby pin. And she shows it. I should have showed you guys the thing, but I want to trade this bobby pin for whatever somebody wants to trade with me for. So she did this for a whole year, just trading up basically, right? Like, okay, now I have this skateboard. I want to trade it for a bike. And then I want to trade it for a tent. And I want to trade it for this, a car. Eventually she traded for a house. She got a house. And instead of keeping the house, she renovated it, put all kinds of money into it, and then said, okay, well, now I want to give it to somebody. And she decided that she was going to let this girl, this winner, move into it. This girl, Shay. What's it short for? Shane? The guy, all those little like things, it was like cutting out to him running with across a field with a big red flag.
Oh my God. Our favorite
I'm
red
so
flag
nervous
hormone.
I could poop through. That's exactly it. So it was just funny and not funny, haha, but just funny that this girl, she decided she gave her like this big old sob story and everything, how she just was down on her luck. And then when her and her boyfriend moved in, things changed. So for me, the what the fuck is like, here we are, right? Here, humanity, right, is trying to do something good by helping somebody who's down and out. Let me let you stay in the house, giving you this house. Before the paperwork was even finalized, she was giving her the house. Before the paperwork was even finalized, she goes and she starts doing all this fucking crazy shit to the house and destroyed the house, destroyed it. People say, that's why they say lotto winners, if they're poor, they win the lotto, they don't do very good winning the lotto because they don't have that mindset, right? They have the poor people mindset. So they splurge, they don't save, they don't invest, they don't help people. They don't do all the things, right? They end up poor again because that's the mindset they have, right? So what do they say? Instead of giving them a fish, teach them how to fish, right? So they can feed themselves for a longer period of time.
It's this world is a sad, sad place.
It really is.
Christmas was horrible on social media, by the way. Christmas was absolutely horrible. I was telling you that. I'm like, what is wrong with people?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you were. I mean, and honestly, I'm like at a point where it's like, how are we gonna sit there and do better? Like, do better, people. Like, we have to do better as humanity, right? And like he said, this shouldn't deter people from doing acts of
Good things.
kindness. Yeah, acts of
Yeah.
kindness. But at the same time, it's like, be careful. Be careful. And then social media was coming after her because the girl was making a sob story on TikTok saying, this bitch, she freaking kicked me out. First she gives me the house and then she kicks me out. I'm sorry. And that's why she said she had to get on social media and with all the receipts and say, hey, no, this is what actually happened. Because they
Let
were
me
coming
show
after
you.
her. Don't believe everything you see or hear, people.
That's every story.
I swear. But anyway, all right. Let's go back to Caught Up. We are in the middle of our review, right, of the first half of Caught Up. Do you feel like you have a soft spot for Lauren, or do you think she's just a naughty girl, like a dirty girl? I think we kind of already answered this, but
Um, it's hard. I feel I do have a soft. I do do have a soft spot for her because she kind of had it rough.
yeah.
Um, as a young girl, she had it rough as a young girl. Not kind of, but she did.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when she got older, I mean, you are who you are. That's amazing. But there's certain things about her that I just didn't care for.
Yeah.
Like her way of thinking and on some stuff. You know, it was like uh I think that well, we can't get to that part. I was going to tell you my favorite part. I can't.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. But yeah, like you know, I like my heart went to her in like her telling her story, but then it got to a point that you just didn't feel bad for her anymore. You know what I'm saying? It was just I don't know, that was me because she is this whole other person now.
Yeah.
And she's very confident when she's doing certain things, but then again, she's still a little girl when she's battling all these things. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like for me, it goes back and forth
Yeah.
on having a soft spot for her and not having a soft spot for her.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
I feel like for me, it's what I was saying before. I can kind of see how Nico doesn't really like her or trust her because I want her like for my own son. No, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. Like they're people too. I get that. It's a profession. I get that. But at the same time, I mean, it's like splitting hairs here, you know?
yeah.
We could say, well, it's the whole judgment thing. Don't judge a book by its cover and all that stuff. So I do have somewhat of a soft spot for her, especially because of that whole internal dialogue that she has that I'm used to having, not about my profession,
I was
not
gonna
about
say,
that, but just like the way she is, her quirkiness and her personality, I feel like I relate to her a lot. In how she viewed things and how she processed things and her humor. So I do have a little bit of a soft spot for her, but the way she is super open and honest, even at church. And the ladies, the church ladies, Junior got very upset because in their first encounter, he overheard her little spat with her grandmother's church friends, right? And they
yeah.
were literally pointing fingers and being judgmental. So while I agree with him that what he did because he went and slashed tires because he was mad because somebody did something to Lauren, right? To hurt her feelings. But at the same time, it's like Lauren puts herself in that position. Well, it's fine that you're not going to be hiding what you do and you're very forthcoming with what you do. But if you're in that space, it's kind of like with a celebrity that you put yourself out there. There is no privacy when you're a celebrity. The same thing. You're literally showing all your hoo-has. You're doing all the things for all these people and they know what you do and you're okay with it. You're proud of it. Well, then you also have to deal with the backlash. And the way Navessa writes her reactions, it seems like Lo doesn't really have a problem with the judgment and everything.
Hmm.
But I feel like everybody has a little bit of a
Oh
problem with
yeah.
people judging.
Yeah.
You know,
Eventually it I mean, she has I don't know. Sometimes I feel like there's a time and place to have conversations like that, whether
Yeah.
you're proud or not. Like your profession can be XYZ.
Yeah.
It's it kind of covers what it is that you're doing, but at the same time it is what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's a tasteful way to say, well, I'm in sales. I'm in, um, videography, like
Yeah.
there's just
Yeah.
ways to,
Yeah.
without telling people your business,
Yeah. Yeah.
still be very tasteful and respectful. I understand that people are very proud with things that they do and who they are, but judgment at a certain point in your life, it does start wearing on you,
Mm-hmm.
because eventually you're going to have to tell your kids this is what you do for a living. They're going to be able to see what you do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
You can only keep it away from them for so long, because kids are becoming more and more sexualized as they get, it's getting younger now. They start looking at sex stuff at 10.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you prevent those things? I mean, it's like I get the pride aspect of her, but to me it's like you should be able to pick and choose what you want to tell people
Right.
without taking away from your authenticity, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, it kind of falls in line with what I was saying. There's certain things in movies and stuff, and now in the book and everything, where people are trying to shove it down our throats and like be accepting of whatever it is, right? In this
Hmm.
case, cam girl. What was it called? Cam worker. What's it called? A cam girl. And I'm not a prude. I've been to strip clubs. I get it. And I've been also to male reviews and things like that. So I'm not being a prude. What I'm saying is sometimes when things are twisted in a certain way where it's like accept me or else, like, and it's literally shoved down our throats, I feel that's when I have a problem with things, because give me the opportunity to decide whether I'm going to accept it or not, instead of just trying to shove it down my throat and trying to force feed the desensitizing of whatever it is. So again, to reiterate, I do have a soft spot for her, but I kind of almost feel like, well, girl, you're putting yourself out there like that. It's kind of hard to feel bad for you. when,
Yeah, these are
yeah,
these are pretty much the repercussions of your actions.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you think that Junior and Josh have a lot in common? Like, what about them trying hard not to be like their fathers?
I think that's a big common um, characteristic for them both, but I also think that they're very similar in um, the way they love the girls,
Mm-hmm.
but also in how they cope and deal with things. They both have this darkness that they both try to deal with in almost similar ways, you know? Um, and I think that the girls help them fight those demons in a way. Um,
Yeah.
with the like they bring them calmness,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Besides the fathers, I think their personalities, their sarcasm, their just the way they just harass each other and stuff. They're very, very similar. They may not look alike. They probably didn't weren't raised in the same, families or whatever, but they're very similar because they're both fighting these demons. And I feel like both girls bring them peace
Mm-hmm.
in a way.
And we've talked about that on this podcast several times, where that's our job as women. We're supposed to bring our men peace and not overcomplicate their lives. So the fact that they are both able to be those soft landing spots for each of them, for both men, that's a good point to bring up. I really I like that point. The commonality though between how they each are dealing with having the pressures of living up to their father's, either like with Junior and Nico, living up to his dad's expectations of him. And with Josh, it's literally trying everything possible not to be a fucking serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
your father. So, and it that raises the whole question of nature versus nurture, right? Do you innately have these murderous tendencies or these violent tendencies in Junior's case, right? Because he beats up on some people because he's trying to protect Lauren. In his mind, it's all about protecting Lauren. That's it. And we'll get into further detail about the dynamic between Nico and Junior. But probably having that in common, because he spits it out a little bit. He says, "Yeah, the fact that I know Josh has issues with his dad too." That I
Mm-hmm.
think kind of brought them
It's like
together.
a bonding moment.
Yeah. Yeah, trauma bonding like we talked about in Lights Out, right? So, and this is for the guys. So, yeah. How would you have handled the situation between Junior and Lo? Do you think that she forgave him too easily after he came back into her life 10 years later?
Um, I think she gave him a run for his money for a little bit, but it was too quick. I
Yeah.
think she should have. But again, some of her antics annoyed the fuck out of me. I'm sorry. Like, girl, I don't want to
Yeah.
be for victory, you know? Like, give the man some time to work for it, baby.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like, don't sit there and battle in your head and then give him what he wants.
Yeah.
You know, play a little hard to get.
But
But I
listen,
think the fact
have
that
you
she loved him already,
yeah.
I think that kind of brought her walls down.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you though, but have you ever been in a situation where maybe you get into an argument with your significant other and you want to like you're like, standing firm on your ground like, "No, I was right, you were wrong." No, now you're going to have to work extra hard to get, and then they freaking just look at you a certain way and you're just like, "Huh."
Yes,
You know?
it would not be human if
And
I did.
And like she said, her body was betraying her. Her kitty was betraying her. She was like, "Bitch, no, we're not doing this."
That was an evil beaver.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm thinking of the Bucky's beaver. Ask me about my beaver. Oh my God. Yeah, I agree. I think she did forgive him a little bit too quickly. She did give him a run for his money, but I feel like since he was on his from his perspective, because he was already keeping tabs on her, he was paying her to do all these sexual things, videos, and send them to him. I feel like he had the upper hand the whole time because he never let go. She tried to let
He
go.
did.
And he never let go. He was like, she mine.
He was committed.
Yes. Yeah.
The man was committed.
Yeah. Yeah. And he would have worked harder for it, I feel. If she had made him work harder for it, he would have, because he's been holding on for this whole time, for 10 plus years. I already asked this question, or we kind of talked about this already, but I'm just going to throw it out there because I have it on my list. And it's the last question of the night. How do you feel about sex workers, prostitution, OnlyFans, etc., and Lowe's endeavor to
Jesus
advocate
Christ, woman.
for
You couldn't give me something else?
for support and benefits for sex workers? Yeah. How do you feel?
Oh, God, good Lord. Do you want me to give you the politically
No.
correct
Oh,
answer like
no.
I usually
Are we
do,
ever
or do you?
politically correct here? No. I
I
want
try
the
to be
honest
as
to
much
God
as
answer.
possible. Um, yeah, it's going to be politically correct. I feel as though everyone has the profession they want to get into. Some people have struggles that they go through. Whatever choice they make is the choice they make. Do I have an opinion about it, yes, because I feel as though there's other ways you can make money. You don't have to do that. It depends on your circumstances, but these people are making freaking bank. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's hard to say, you know, if it's right or wrong. I mean, you're going to make the decision you want to make, and depending on how quickly you want to make the money, that's how you make it. You know, it's like I truly, in my opinion, do I agree with it? No, I don't. But it's definitely not something I would choose to do with my life. I'd rather work 6 jobs than do something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But that's me. So, how about you?
I'm not going to be politically correct. Or maybe I am. Maybe I am a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I already said I feel a little bit torn because I do have a soft spot for low, right? A lot of people, they choose to do whatever they're doing, right? And like in the book, she is very proud. She has no qualms about it whatsoever. People are paying me to show them a good time. Okay, fine. I have a problem with that on a different, I'm not a religious person. People know this already about me, but I am very spiritual. So for me, I'm basically giving out my energy to these random people that I don't know, and they're totally jerking off to me. I mean, they could totally be jerking off to a picture of me on my Facebook or Instagram.
Facebook.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm not selling it. I'm not selling myself. I'm not selling my soul, basically. If it is happening, it's happening behind my back, unbeknownst to me, right? So I don't have any control over that. She is literally giving her energy away. And every time she does that for somebody, she's literally giving a fragment of her soul away. That's how I see it. So I don't agree with it. I really don't agree with that line of work. I have 2 daughters. Would I want my daughters or even my son to do that line of work? No. And call me a hypocrite because, again, like I said, I've been to strip clubs, but would I want that for myself or for my own children? No, I wouldn't, because I feel like it's a deeper level of stripping away at your humanity, at your dignity, at your self-respect, at all of it. And I'm not saying that to be judgmental. It's just literally, truly how I feel and my perspective and the way I see it. I don't agree with her advocation for, let's get benefits and we should have the same type of retirement program. Bitch, you're making more money in 1 week than people do in a whole fucking year. Like, figure out your own fucking retirement. I feel like that piece of it was kind of shoved down our throats. That's what I'm talking about. There's certain things where they just want, the powers that be, society, they just want us to be okay with everything out there. And I'm not okay with it. Now, did I enjoy the book and do I like reading about smut? Yes, I do. So trust me when I tell you that I know how I sound. I sound like I'm contradicting myself. Yeah.
We like reading about it. Would it be a decision we make?
No. Yeah.
For our life, our careers, our children.
Exactly. All right. Well,
It's good.
this book was so good. Miss Joanna has our wow, and we are going to, while she pulls that up, we are going to.
I already did.
Oh, you did? Oh, shit. Well, I'm going to shut up then. Go ahead.
This is absolutely adorable. Seahorses dance with their partners every morning to strengthen their connection.
Oh.
And the picture is so cute. Look.
Oh. So we should be doing that. Dancing with our partners every morning to strengthen our connection. Yeah, I like that. I could go deeper on that, but I like it. That's a good wow to leave this section with.
Well, what I'm saying is about love. Everything's about love.
Oh, yeah, of
I
course.
wanted it to maintain
Yeah.
positivity.
Yeah, you're right. Well, we're going to come back with another episode with the second half of the book next week. So join us when we discuss more about Junior and Lauren and all the other stuff that we get to tell you about, right?
Oh my God, so
Because
exciting.
damn, yeah, there's like
That book gets good.
in true Navessa fashion, there are plot twists and just different turns that you don't even see coming. Yeah,
Not at all.
not
Love
at
it.
all, but it's good. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you next week, where we're discussing the second half of Caught Up by Navessa Allen. Adios,
Love
amigos.
you guys. Adios.